So how do you target people based on interest? I think this is something where a lot of people get lost because you can do a lot of things with it, right? There's a lot of options, there's a lot of variables that you can use, a lot of different interests that you can use. And so I think one of the things that we're going to talk about right now in this lesson is where can I find interest ideas and what are the best mixes of ideas and interests that actually help me like super target my user base, right? Or when I target potential customers, because it's pretty easy to use broad interest where your audience might be too big. And so you're not going to have enough budget for it, or you're not going to be able to optimize your campaigns. And so when you want to find super niche markets, what you really want to do is have a better understanding with how to use interest so that you can target your customers better. And so the way I approach this usually is that you have like different levels, right? So you have like broad topics, subtopics, and specific topics. And I think that a lot of people will use most of the time broad topics, and I'll show you examples of this, right? Where your audience might be just too large, and it might just not be the best way to reach your potential customer base. And so when I do this, what we usually try to do is try to think of specific topics that are going to allow you super target your customers, right? So yes, broad topics work when you're scaling and when you have a larger budget, but when you're looking to generate leads and sales, you want to go for these small buckets of people, right? That go along with specific topics, and I'll show you a couple of examples of how you can do this. And so if you're targeting if you're working with a dentist, for example, and you need to generate them leads, or doctors, a broad topic would be personal care. So personal care could be anything, right? And not just your teeth. If you're working with a dentist, it could be hair, it could be anything, right? If I go a level below, I could say, well, dentistry or dentists, people who are, looking for them, or interested in those, but that also might not be the best way to target them. What I want to go is for probably white teeth and mouthwash, right? So white teeth, if someone is interested in white teeth, that shows that they're actually looking for a specific product that you can target, and that they're worried not just about their personal care but actually about helping whiten their teeth, right? So if I'm pushing for a white teething product with my dentist, this might be a good way to target them, right? Because I'm being very specific about the things that I can cluster my user or build my audience with, right? So if when you go to your saved audience, let's give an example, but let's say I'm in Vancouver, right, British Columbia. I'm targeting everyone. So 18 to 65, we're not going to talk about demographics right now. But if I, let's say, put white teeth, right, it's going to show me is that I have 29,000 potential customers in the Vancouver metropolitan area that are interested or actively interested in that topic. So those are a better match for the type of audience or product that I'm doing. It works the same thing if I'm selling courses online, if I'm doing anything with digital marketing, if I'm an agency, for example, and I want to look for customers. Well, I could say digital marketing, online advertising, but that's going to give me a pretty broad audience, right? So if I do the same example and I put digital marketing, you're going to see that it's going to show me close to 300,000 potential users or customers, right? But if I go a level further, so instead of, let's go advertising agency, let's put like leaders or people in the industry. So Mary Smith, Amy Porterfield, or John Loomer, for example. There's more people, but let's say I put John Loomer. So these are people I know are looking into learning how to use Facebook, for example. I have 14,000 people. So this is probably a better segment to target than your general digital marketing audience, depending on the product that you're looking for. But this is a way in which, if I'm selling, for example, courses or stuff related with digital marketing, probably this is going to be a better shot at targeting users who are know a little bit more, but I can actually help them better as well. Same thing with finance, right? So if I'm selling a personal finance product, or I'm working with financial institution that is helping people with trading or investments or even savings, for example, like this can change a lot. I could probably use finance, but that's pretty broad in general. I can go a level down and talk about stock market trader, or I could say day trader or Barron's, newspaper. If someone reads Barron's, I know that they're into investment banking and they're really into finance. Whereas someone with a finance interest, it's pretty broad, like it could be anything. And so this is a better way to pick your interest when you're targeting users on Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp as well. When you're thinking about finding those interests, think about, am I using a broad topic, a subtopic, or a specific one? And try to find specific topics that can help you just target better and find better niches for your market, right? And so these are some other ideas that you can use when you're looking into finding interests that might relate to your customers. I think that a lot of the times we forget about a couple of things that we found that are useful. So one is leaders, famous figures, athletes. So think about who are the leaders within the industry that your market follows, right? That they engage with, that they interact with. Think about books and magazines. And a lot of books you might not find on Facebook, but think about authors. And this is something that we've seen that works pretty well. And one is, if you're looking into books, one of the things that I like to do is just go into Amazon and go to Amazon and look for books and look for authors and see if they come up on Facebook when you target people, right? So if I'm looking into leadership, for example, like let's say Maxwell. Maxwell is like a big guy and pretty well recognized within the leadership industry. And so it should be somewhere around here. So John C. Maxwell, right? So he's an author. There's 74,000 people that are interested in John C. Maxwell. So if I'm into well-being, betterment, better management, I want to target executives, right? Like this might be a good way to approach it. And so think about books, but also, again, like it goes back to leaders, right? If I know the books, look for the authors. Think about events, association, conferences, or tournaments that might be related to your profile customer or target market as well. Think about websites, blogs, forums, anything that your target market engages with, reads. Remember that most sites have the pixel installed already, so Facebook is already tracking your users. They know what they're reading, what they're engaging online, not just on Facebook but outside of Facebook. Think about tools or brands that they can use, right? So if I'm targeting golf players, what I might do is golf brands, right? So if I write golf brands and I look for them, here's a bunch of brands that I can see immediately that I can use to target and find my core customers. So think about those brands that your users are using and unique characteristics that might allow you to better target them as well. So those are, 6 ideas where you can find interests that can help you better understand and also target your user base. The other thing that you can do is that if you go into your saved audience, and I already found one, right? So let's say John C. Maxwell is one of the interests that I'm going to be using to target users. If you go to suggestions, Facebook will automatically give you a ton of suggestions that you can use to target people. So Dale Carnegie, for example, that's another one. Tony Robbins, he's another big one. Like you have a bunch of authors that Facebook knows are related to these 3 topics. And so this is going to allow you to increase your potential user base to 250,000, right? So let's say if let's try Tony Robbins, 75,000. So I know Tony has a ton of followers within the Vancouver area. So if I want to target people that are executives that are trying to improve themselves, like with topics related to personal development, these might be good topics to use, right? So this is a really good way in which you can use interest to target your user base better, right? So think about all these different things that you can and write them down. What I usually try to do is grab a piece of paper and write them down, and that's going to allow you to build better audiences, target them better as well, and have more specific, smaller audiences that are going to be cheaper to target, and you're going to have much better results. So those are pretty good ideas that you can use to solidify and just improve how you're building your current audiences with interests that you're using.